A lot of people who know me know that DECA has been a huge part of my high school experience. For those of you that don't know, DECA is a business case competition that's super popular here in Canada as well as America. I'll leave a link in the description to their websites, but just as a brief summary, the way the DECA works is that it's a business case competition and it operates on specific clusters. So you would pick a cluster, for example, business administration, marketing, finance, hospitality, and tourism. And then within those clusters, you pick a specific event. So if you want tips and tricks for my 4 years of DECA experience, I'm happy to make a complete other video on that. Now, the structure of the competition itself is that you'd have a multiple choice exam on whatever cluster that you chose, and then you'd also have to present a solution to an oral case study, which was also known as a role play. And the multiple choice exam was pretty straightforward. There was a lot of resources online where you could do practice tests and whatnot, but it was the oral case studies that presented some unique challenges. First of all, you were very limited in your prep time. So you would either have 10 minutes to prep for a 10-minute presentation if you were competing as an individual, or 30 minutes for a 15-minute presentation if you were competing with a partnership. And as daunting as this sounds, you would eventually get better with it with practice and continual effort. You would get better with the time management aspect, being able to skim through the case, decide what's important, what's not, figure out how the cases are usually written and see what you can ignore, come up with routines and a real good process that could make the whole thing a lot more efficient and effective. The tricky part for me came at the provincial level. So that's the second level after regionals or state level, depending on if you're in Canada or the US. But anyways, the way that the events were judged was that the judges would have a section of people that they needed to judge. So on average, they would be looking at about 10 to 15 people. And this was back to back. And another thing about it was that everybody had the same exact case. So that meant that each individual judge would be listening to the same case over and over and over and over again. If you can't already see the challenge here, I'll elaborate. So if you don't bring something new to the table, it becomes very easy for the judge to just get bored and tune you out completely. And especially if you are one of the later time slots, later in the day. And what a lot of people did, what became really easy to do, is just to adopt a victim mindset. And if your time slot happened to be one of the later ones, you just feel doomed for failure. What I did instead, and what fundamentally changed my mindset, was ask myself a simple question. How can I make the judge's day? In a competition where everyone was so afraid of being forgettable, I instead concentrated on trying to be the one they would remember. Now, I know this sounds super corny, but let me expand on that. I wanted to have one thing, just one thing, that the judge would take away, that they would tell a colleague or a partner about. Just one thing that they would genuinely connect with. And that one thing for me was suggesting that we use TikTok as a marketing strategy, which I noticed that my judge instantly connected with because it's not something that most people read in a textbook. It's not something that most people say. And by doing that, I instantly connected with him. He even wrote a TikTok trend on the rubric of my, the comments section, which I still remember to this day. And although that case study and that presentation didn't get me to ICDC, which was my ultimate goal, it did change the way that I thought about these case studies and change the way that I thought about confidence in general. The reason for this is it proved to me that just by doing one small thing differently, it could help me stand out in a really unique way. And I know that a lot of people listening may not even be interested in DECA or business in general, but I think this is applicable to anyone. So if you're trying to make an impression on somebody, or if you're trying to land a job at a job interview, or give a really great speech, maybe just focus on trying to make someone's day. And maybe you'll have a much bigger impact that way. And if this video made your day, don't forget to subscribe, annihilate that like button, and drop a little something in the comments if you have a future video idea. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. I'm out.